Okay, let's bring an end to the lugubrious, the dismal, and the tragic. At long last, there's reason to celebrate. The United Nations has capitulated on the question of Haiti and cholera. After nearly 6 years of denial and hiding behind the pretext of immunity, the United Nations has finally conceded that it had real responsibility in bringing cholera to Haiti. It was brought by peacekeepers from Nepal in 2010, and their defecated waste was deposited in the river system on which Haitians depend for washing and drinking, so the cholera spread like wildfire. 10,000 people have died, and nearly 1 million people have been infected, and the United Nations has finally said that over the course of the next 2 months, they're going to provide some kind of package, presumably an apology on the one hand and compensatory reparations on the other, which may provide a level of comfort for the families of the victims and some of the survivors. Now remember, for nearly 6 years, the United Nations lied. The United Nations refused to accept the scientific evidence about the origins of the cholera. The United Nations refused accountability, refused responsibility of any kind, fought every effort in the courts through their various surrogates, and all the while they expressed sadness for what was happening in Haiti and shedded voluminous crocodile tears. But all of the deceit has been exploded just last week. Deceit which, by the way, went right up to the Secretary General's office, in fact, to the Secretary General himself. And the deceit and the dishonesty was exploded in a report written by Philip Alston, a professor at the New York University Law School, who is also, as it happens, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Poverty and Human Rights. And he wrote a report about Haiti and cholera, which has not yet been made fully public except through the New York Times, which just blaze through the pages. You know, they smolder these pages in your hand as you read the report. And Philip Alston said about the UN and Haiti and cholera, let me actually quote, he said, "It's morally unconscionable, legally indefensible, and politically self-defeating." And he went on to say that what the UN has done upholds a double standard according to which the UN insists that member states respect human rights while rejecting any such responsibility for itself. An astonishing indictment. But what's really central to all of this is that the struggle for justice in Haiti has been led by a wonderful little NGO called the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti. As remarkable a group of principled advocates as I've ever seen at work, working in conjunction with the Bureau for International Lawyers on the ground in Haiti, both of them finding chinks in the UN's armor. And whenever there was a chink exposed over the last several years, they lobbied, they wrote, they spoke, they litigated. They never gave the UN a moment's pause, and finally the UN has been brought to its proverbial knees. Yes, there'll be a lot of work yet to be done and a lot of negotiation and prospect, but it's the classic example of the underdog demolishing the powerful. Thousands of lives will be saved. Tens of thousands will be restored. And what these NGOs have achieved brings 2 particular matters to mind, 2 lessons. Number 1, never give up. Never give up. And number 2, never succumb to the intimidation and bullying of those sartorial fops who inhabit the upper echelons of power, including the United Nations. That was last week. Actually, a good week. I'm Stephen Lewis.